you guys, it is me, Laura. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids ages 4, 8, and 11. Today I'm going to walk you through what's left of our general world history books. Now these are going to be books that start from the Renaissance and go all the way to modern history. I realize that is a big stretch, but there's a lot lacking on these shelves.
Charles W. Eliot once said, "Books are the quietest and most constant of friends. They are the most accessible and wisest of counselors, and the most patient of teachers." Books have always been a powerful part of my life. Through the stories contained in their pages, I have unlocked new ideas, learned of different cultures, explored the meaning of life, and been inspired by those who have walked before me. Pull up a comfy chair and grab your favorite drink. I'd love to take you on a tour of my bookshelves, and who knows, maybe we'll pull out a book that opens up a world of possibilities for you.
Alright, we're going to walk through these books, and I've tried to break them down into a way that makes sense. So our first book, this is the only book that I have from this time period on these shelves. I may have some other books on some of the other shelves from the Renaissance time period, but I'm not positive. In fact, I know I do, and I have some in biography, but I'm not sure if there's a whole lot else. So I definitely will need to be adding some of those to our home library. But this is one of my favorite books of all time, called The Tinker's Daughter, and it is about Mary Bunyan, who was the daughter of John Bunyan, who wrote Pilgrim's Progress, and she was blind, and this just talks about her experience and her journey, and it is such a beautiful story. I love this one. I loved it when I was a kid. I've read it when I was an adult. I read it with my husband. We both enjoyed it, and this is just such a good book. It is from a series called the Daughters of Faith series. I've not read all of the books in the series. I've read some, but I've loved all the ones that I've read, and I think that that's something that I would definitely like to add more of to my bookshelf. These are written by Wendy Lawton, and they're absolutely such good books. Love this one. Like I said, that's all I have from Renaissance. So then jumping ahead to kind of the Industrial Revolution, I only have 2 books, and one I'm not even really sure I categorized properly, but this is from the Medicine Through the Ages series, which I'm sure that you have seen me talk about before. These are kind of hard to get now. You can still get them, but they're a little bit difficult. But this just goes through medicine from ancient times all the way up through modern time, and you can look at the changes in medicine during that time. And what it does is, in a lot of the previous books, it broke things down by region or where things were, but this one is a little bit different, as it talks about some of the things that are changing in medicine during this time period, which there were some really big changes happening as we were beginning to understand things with the invention of the microscope and things like that. So this series is particularly good for middle grade students and above, some high elementary, maybe 4th, 5th grade. I think that might be about where these would start being interesting, but these are especially good for your kids who love all things medical, who want to be a doctor or a nurse or something along those lines. This is a great way to kind of extend that to history, and there's going to be lots of things you could even break from there to study and explore, but it kind of gives a historical perspective on things, and it's so interesting to see how things have changed and evolved over time, and how thinking has changed and evolved over time. So I definitely like these books for sure. The next book that I have in the Industrial Revolution, which I'm not sure if this is the right time period, but this is the Piratology book. And this one, let's see, what is the year on here? It usually says 1722, using the compass around the world. And so you're just discovering the secrets of all these pirates, and there's all these lift the flap elements. These are usually told through one cohesive story, but it teaches you through that story all about different things of the past. So see, you've got your little code here, and I don't know, just all kinds of things that you can learn from these books. You can learn about the weapons, and you have some gold, and I don't know, these are just really, really fun. My kids love all of these books, so we have this on our shelf. They pull it out and look at it a lot. I have yet to read it through with them fully, but I bet we will at some point. So now we're into modern history. That was it for those time periods. I definitely need more. And of course, modern history is going to be all over my shelves, mixed in and whatever. But these are things that for whatever reason I've decided to shelve with my modern history. Of course, I have my Titanic books. So there's the I Survived. My son loves these books, so we have a lot of them, and he does reread them. So this is one that we have on Titanic. I also think this is one that future children will enjoy, so we definitely hang on to these. And this is another Titanic book. This is a great one because it's good for kids who are really starting to read independently, a little bit of a longer book, but it's also a great one to read aloud together because there are so many great pictures in here as well. So this is one that you can usually check out of your library. I think this was given to us, and so it's one that has stuck around. Then again, on that same thing, we have the Modern Medicine book in this series, and so of course this is going to talk about a lot more modern scientific technological breakthroughs and things like that. So that is from that series as well. And all the rest of my books from this series, from this time period, are from World War I and World War II. These are definitely not all of my World War I and World War II books. I have some that are up with the picture books and the chapter books and read alouds that have to do with American history, but these are the ones that are they're generally not set in America. They're set in some other part of the world or focus on another part of the world during the wartime. This one is Little Riders, and it is set in Holland during World War II, and it's just this is a good read aloud if you have younger kids in your family as well as older kids, and it's a pretty quick read, but it's just a really sweet story set in that time period. This one is Shadow of His Hand, and it's about Anita Dittman, who wants to be a ballerina. So this is also from the Daughters of Faith series. So she's a Jew in Nazi Germany. And so this is another World War II story, another one from this series. This is not one that I've read, but all of the girls that are featured in this series are actual real people. So that is kind of fun, and I'm excited to read this one because I have never been disappointed by these books, and I'm sure that this one is going to be the same. This is a fun read aloud that we read with the kids before, and I'm sure we're going to read again, called 20 and 10. It's a really short read. It is during the German occupation of France, and it talks about these kids who are hiding in the mountains, and these soldiers come, and what's gonna happen. And anyway, the experience there, they're hiding some kids away, they don't want to get caught. It's a good little read. It's definitely will keep you on the edge of your seat, but it's not too much for some of your younger listeners. This is one that I have not read yet, but am excited to read. It's Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. This one is on all the reading lists for the kids, and like I said, I don't know much about it. It is set in 1943 in Copenhagen, and I believe she is Jewish, and of course in Nazi era this was a dangerous thing to be. So this one is Number the Stars, and it is a Newbery Medal winner. So if that's something you like to include in your homeschool, there you go. This one I absolutely love. So this is about candy drops that actually happened in Berlin during the war. These cities, these towns, these bombed places were kind of secluded, and these bombers would do this dangerous job of dropping candy for these kids. And this is about Mercedes, and she was able to make contact with one of the pilots, and it's just a really great story. Absolutely love this book. Now we're into more of the nonfiction books that are related to World War I and World War II. So I have this called The First World War by Usborne, and I really actually like this book a lot. I have read it, and I learned so much. Honestly, in America, we don't learn as much about World War I, but it's super important to understand World War II and to understand what was going on in the world in general. So I was super glad to have read this. I love that there are pictures in here, and it's a chapter book style, so this was definitely a good read. This is the Usborne Introduction to the Second World War. This one's printed by Scholastic. I don't know where the first one is, but I would like to find it, because if I can find that, these are just absolutely amazing. They are internet linked, or internet referenced, but there are internet links that can go with these, which are super good. I mean, this is just your traditional Usborne style that we absolutely love in our home. So this will be a huge thing that we are going to use for this time period when we get there. And these are some sticker books that I got from my kids a while back. I don't believe that these are in print anymore. There's the First World War, and then there's these sticker books that are First World War and Second World War. And the reason I kept them, this one they haven't actually completed yet. I'm trying to kind of save it and for hopes that when we go through it they can fill this out. So there are stickers here. Let me show you. Yeah, those are the stickers pages. So they put them in and it makes kind of a little encyclopedia, and they're adding the pictures to it. So I think that's going to be really good. And then these, they had so much fun doing. I think they actually did a couple of these, but there is enough information there to kind of give you a good overview of each of the wars. Not a lot of information, but like a good overview. And these they really enjoy looking at, and they like that they were able to put them together. So have the First and the Second World War of that. And these next books are a little bit dated, but I'm hanging on to them because even though they look old, I think the content is still really good. So this is DK Eyewitness World War I, and this is World War II. They may have more modern updates of these, but these are on the inside. They look just like DK books. So they just go through the wars and all the things in here, just like you would expect from a DK book. My son really enjoys looking at these. There's some graphic stuff, of course. This is war, so there's a war hospital. But he likes these, and I feel like we learn a lot from them. So I've got both World War I and World War II on the shelves. They're both very similar, just really typical what you would expect from a DK book. These are definitely, they look very out of date, but I think the information in them is still good because it's talking about war, the weapons and technology. And this is a topic that's interesting to both of my boys, this aspect of things. So I don't know if these are in print anymore or if you can get them. So I've decided to hang on to them. It talks about all the different uniforms and different kinds of technology and weapons and all of that in each of the wars. And then they've just got, there's a lot of information. So this is pretty heavy as far as information and text, which is not all bad for sure. Definitely geared toward a little bit older students. But we've got World War I, and then World War II, of course, is going to have very different weapons in it. So we've got this, and it's interesting to see the evolution of weapons and how that has also affected our daily lives as civilians as well over time. So that is what I have. That is my last general world history bookshelf. Now we're not done with history though. I have biography bookshelf, a couple bookshelves with biographies, both picture books and chapter books, and I have lots of stuff on American history. So I think next I'm going to go ahead and jump into the biographies, and we will go over those. They're mixed in biographies from all over the world, and I may have to do two with picture books and like chapter books separate. I'm not sure, we'll see, but I'm eager to come back and show you biographies soon, and then we will jump into American history books. Let me know if there's anything you guys would like to see. Let me know what I need to add to my shelf for Renaissance and Industrial Revolution era books, as well as some more modern history that are not having anything to do with World War I or World War II. And I would love to hear what books look good to you guys, and I hope that you are having a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.